Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The High School Sports Beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We continue our look back at some of the stories we've covered over the last 9 years, beginning this week with a profile on Victor's Tommy Wagner, a baseball player with hopes of making it big on the stage. From May of 2013, here's Bill Pucko.
Tommy Wagner is nothing if not versatile. He was a star football player at Victor. On the baseball diamond, he pitches and plays second base. Tommy is the best hitter on the most accomplished team in the region. If that's not enough, Wagner is an accomplished musician and composer.
I usually write for myself, so it's more like just a guitar and a voice. And I mean, I've tried to play with more instruments, but it's kind of tough when you're only one person.
Yeah. How's your voice?
I don't know. I guess you'd have to see to figure that one out.
Going out the door with my hand in my pocket full of change. Heading to the store with my money to start the day. The sign on the door says close for break. What to do with all my money? My pocket full of change.
I have this one song that I wrote probably a few weeks ago that I really like. I don't really have a name for it yet. I mean, I think coming up with a name is the hardest part, but I mean, it's definitely a good song. You get different backgrounds from different artists, so I mean, it's a song that I enjoy playing and that, I don't know, maybe other people like too.
Every day, and I never thought I'd feel so good when I heard you sing. Yeah, you were feeling high and feeling okay. Oh, it's my sweet and sour. Won't you hear me out?
With Wagner leading the way, is playing for its third straight Section 5 baseball championship. The Blue Devils won a state title, were runners-up last year. It fuels his future, too. Tommy is headed to Cornell next year, where he's on the path to pre-med.
I mean, I was glad I got into a great school like that, and I mean, baseball was definitely the way I was going to work to get into as the best school I could, so I mean, it definitely worked out, and I'm looking forward to my future.
What to do when no one will take my money, a pocket full of change. When the world tries to break me down, I move on in, I'm always thinking about the rest of my life. Well, it's good then, and it's good, and when I go sit by the fire till the fire has died, or when the world tries to turn me around, I know I gotta stay.
When I'm kind of alone, I'll just kind of think of different things, so it kind of pops up in my head. It's something I've been thinking about, so I don't know, music's a good way to write down what you're thinking and to kind of get it out there, whether it's good or bad. So
Will it always be a part of your life, do you think?
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those things that no matter how you're feeling, it can get you through, make you feel a little better about yourself and about the world.
This world can't bring me down.
Tommy batted .312 over his last 2 seasons with Cornell and also was a member of the Glee Club while gaining a degree in biological sciences. You can also find his music on SoundCloud solo or with his band, Good Thief. Well, coming up next, Matt Trabold joins us for the High School Notebook. We'll have that when the High School Sports Beat continues. It's time now for the High School Notebook, and once again, we are happy to be joined by Matt Trabold. Matt, thanks so much for hopping on board.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Hey, want to start off talking about somebody in the area who's getting some looks from D1 now, and finally.
So earlier this spring on this show, I brought up how East High sophomore point guard Damani Barley, he received that first big offer from a D1 program. Such a big recruiting moment for him. And then this past week, it happened again for another underclassman guard from the Section 5 area. Current Bishop Kearney sophomore Miles Rose just picked up an offer from Bryant University out of the Northeast Conference. While he is not quite as tall as his older brother in 2020 NBA draft prospect Quinton Rose, but as guards go, really nobody is. So he still has great size at 6'4" for a player that can hold his own really at both guard positions. He operates and scores well through crowds and contact. In his second varsity campaign, you really saw this past season, you could definitely notice a jump in confidence and aggressiveness. Now, next year, he will not be at Bishop Kearney, but he's going to prep school ball. He's going to renowned prep school, Vermont Academy, which is where Webster Schrader's Emmett Holt was slated to play before being offered by the Indiana Hoosiers. So it's a big program. You really think it's just going to go up and up and up for his recruiting. It's really good to see. He's a great kid. Smiles Rose a lot of times on the court. Great kid.
Let's talk. You brought him up. Let's talk about Quinton for a second.
Yeah, so I mentioned a minute ago how the older brother of Miles Rose, Quinton Rose, was a 2020 NBA draft prospect. He is right now. He's absolutely an intriguing name for this draft, which might get pushed back to maybe mid-September due to COVID-19. Nothing official yet there. Before you even get into his repertoire of skills on the basketball court, it is undeniable that he won the physical lottery as a 6'8" player that can play both guard positions, plus that impressive wingspan helps him disrupt lanes with ease on defense. Top 40 nationally this past season in steals average, and he was also dominant with his steal numbers as a junior. Quinton routinely had big performances again and again against big opponents this past season alone, against Villanova, against Wichita State, against Cincinnati. He's also signed with a gigantic name of the agency industry in Rock Nation. That's only going to help him even more.
Let's talk about lacrosse and some college, some guys locally and playing college lacrosse. It makes it kind of funny that this, as we record this show, this would be the day the lacrosse national championship annually would be played. It's the Monday of Memorial Day. So, it's fitting to talk about some college lacrosse right now.
And absolutely. And that's always such a good event with all the different divisions and those championship games. So when you're really thinking about what the top program in Section 5 boys lacrosse is, your mind might not go directly to Churchville Chili, but what a couple of college lacrosse sophomore stars did during the shortened season that recently wrapped up, it means that Saints program deserves a lot of respect. First off, Albany attackman Corey Yunker. He played sparingly as a freshman with that team as he logged time in 11 games, only 6 points, but he exploded as a sophomore with 18 points, 10 goals in just 5 games. That included a hat trick in the season opener versus Cornell, then multiple goals versus 7th-ranked Maryland. We talked about him last week. That's a big program to be scoring goals against at that young age. Plus, then he ended the year ranked 4th nationally in shot percentage, so he's efficient as well, on top of putting plenty of goals in the back of the net. Then there's Canisius attackman Jacob Buck, another former Saint, who went for a whopping 44 points, 30 goals as a freshman. He was named the MAAC Rookie of the Year. And he followed that up with 19 points in 5 games as a sophomore. That included 6 goals against Hobart. That's absurd. Those Saints are doing big things.
That's great to hear. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us. It's great stuff as always, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, you stay well, man. And we are back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this. Coming up next, the Making the Grade nominee with Kyle O'Gara, and later, a state qualifier softball game pits brother versus sister. We'll explain that when the High School Sports Beat returns.
Welcome back, and thank you for watching the High School Sports Beat. I'm Kyle O'Gara.
Making the grade this week is Eugenio Maria de Hostos Charter School Junior Crystal Rosado Iglesias. When sports aren't canceled by a global pandemic, Crystal plays varsity basketball and softball for the Hornets. On the court, Crystal was honored with the Lockdown Defense Player Award and was an all-star for her team. In the classroom, Crystal has made honor roll every single semester since she started high school and is an 85% average. Outside of school and sports, Crystal helps others with her mother within the community. Crystal is described by others as a great student athlete both in the classroom and on the court. After high school, Crystal plans to go to Roberts Wesleyan to study nursing and play basketball. This week, Crystal Rosado Iglesias is making the grade.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them into mtg@rocksportsnow.com. Now here's Dave and the McArdles Section 5 Spotlight.
Thanks, Kyle. Here are some of the athletes, teams, and coaches are handling quarantine in this week's Section 5 Spotlight, brought to you by McArdles and Fairport. Come home to McArdles.
McArdles is open for takeout and delivery with DoorDash and Grubhub every day of the week. Visit our website, eatatmcardles.com.
HFL 6th grader Jenna Lawrence demonstrates some lacrosse skills she's working on with her sister Emily. A new tradition continues as Canandaigua salutes their seniors, including Riley Begley.
Riley, put your signs down.
And how about the moves for wideout Victor Snow of Webster Schrader football? Well, if your team or school would like to share their quarantine activities, workouts, or challenges, let us know. Tag @HighSchoolSportsBeat on social media. Well, coming up next, Brockport and Fairport softball goes down to the wire in a state qualifier. We'll have that story when the High School Sports Beat continues.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. In early June of 2013, Brockport and Fairport softball met in the state qualifier. And with everything on the line, Brockport turns to then sophomore Julia DiMartino in a game where the opposing coaches were brother and sister.
It is the first family of Section 5 softball. Amy Carr, 6 times in the last 8 years, the coach of the section champions from Fairport, with younger sister Samantha assisting, their older brother Chris, who coaches his own Section 5 champion in Brockport. And down the left field line, a comfortable distance away, Sue, wearing the classic split loyalty t-shirt, and Rick Carr, the parents.
It's just fun. Both work hard, and you don't like to see any of them lose, but it's fun and to watch them continue on in their careers, and I get to share a little bit with them, at least by watching.
Chris had never beaten Amy in 11 previous tries, but this was a big one. Coming just a day after each won a sectional title, the state qualifier led to the end of the road for the loser. Fairport took early advantage of some first-inning jitters by the Brockport defense, and with Allie Williams at third, Karen Jablonski got a piece of a 1-2 pitch that wasn't handled cleanly, scoring the game's first run.
I just tried to put the ball in play. Coach Gubbiotti always says it doesn't have to be a perfect hit. As long as you put it in play and make it work, that's all that counts.
Yeah, I mean, especially, again, a 2-strike count, runner at third base, just get it in play, right?
Yep, it's on to the next pitch. You can't worry about the last 2. It's always why you get 3 strikes.
In the Brockport second, the Blue Devils got a runner to third with 2 outs. Shannon Allen hit a ball to second that Sarah Bierzinski made a real nice play on to keep it a 1-0 game. Well, we're talking about the defensive play of the game. That catch you made at second base was pretty big at that point, wasn't it?
It was a big catch, but my team made big plays all game, and that's why we hung so close.
Meanwhile, Brockport pitcher Julia DiMartino was settling in. She had 6 strikeouts in the first 3 innings, but was still a run behind.
I felt pretty good. I wasn't really looking for personal strikeouts. I was doing it for the team, and I knew my team would back me up for the bats.
On the other side, Fairport senior Mackenzie Cleary was less spectacular, but even more effective. Cleary carried a no-hitter into the 4th. DiMartino broke that up with a clean 2-out single. But that amounted to little. On a next pitch hit and run call, Julia was an easy out at second. Fairport still led 1-0. As the game reached the bottom of the 7th and final regulation inning, Cleary's one-hitter was still intact. With 1 out, Brockport's Shelby Perry hit a first-pitch single. Courtesy runner Sophia Avery represented the tying run. DiMartino walked, pushing Avery to second. Sam Jers, the hitter, and she delivered with a ground ball up the middle that Brzezinski couldn't quite reach. Avery came around from second, and the game was tied.
Honestly, I was just trying to battle her and battle every pitch off that I could, and I did not want to give up. I was going to refuse to let her get me out. So
yeah, and you did. You went 0-2 and then fouled off a couple. You were in a pretty deep hole.
Yeah, I kind of like that pressure. I don't know, I just kind of thrive off the pressure.
The Blue Devils now had the winning run at second. Taylor Light with a bid to win it, but a line drive was caught on the run, doubled off DiMartino at second base to end the threat. The game was going to extra innings. Fairport went out in order in the 8th. Brockport did not. Ashley Gilmore was hit by a pitch to lead it off. Shannon Allen ran for Ashley and was sacrificed to second with 1 out. The Devils had 2 chances to win it. They didn't need them both. Taylor Zinkowicz, the last batter in the order, grounded another ball up the middle. Allen scored, and Brockport claimed the game with a remarkable late innings comeback, 2-1.
I just went out there and thought I'm just going to do whatever I can to get this because this team is so important to me and it's been the highlight of my year, and just winning it for everyone just felt so good because we've come so far, and to win just felt so good.
We're just trying to get 1 out at a time. That's been our mantra all season. Play till the last out's made in the 7th inning, and unfortunately we just didn't get the outs in time.
Chris Carr had finally earned a win over his sister, but it was difficult to enjoy it.
It's kind of bittersweet. I love my sister. She does a tremendous job over there. I'm really happy for my kids, but it's tough. It's not easy. I don't know what to say. I love her to death. I'm her biggest fan, and I'm sorry to see them done. They have an excellent team, but happy for my kids moving on.
Julia DiMartino went on to win the Gatorade New York State Softball Player of the Year award in 2014, then followed with a tremendous college career at Liberty University, where she set several records, including most strikeouts. This year, Julia was selected to the New York State High School Softball Hall of Fame. Well, we'd like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Take care, and please, everyone be safe.